We saved this match for late night because we knew it was gonna get a little bit fun.
جاء الوقت أعزائنا المشاهدين أن نشهد فيها المباراة القادمة اللي بتكون من أجمل المباريات معنا في هذا اليوم.
I'm so excited for these next two players to face off. Clem, you know, had a heck of a run in 2020 of the online EU regionals. Picked up a lot of attention then. Has been riding all of that skill and all of those learnings to today.
That's exactly what he was doing أعزائنا المشاهدين. المباراة هذه بتكون جدا مميزة لأن راح نشهد فيها كليم مرة ثانية على المسرح. زيادة على كذا سولر بيكون أول ظهور له معنا في الجروب ستيج. زي ما احنا عارفين كل لاعب لازم يحصل على 3 فوزات عشان يطلع من الستيج هذا وهم جدا قريبين من أنهم يحصلون عليه.
Now they've had their dinner. I know they're all energized and they're ready to play this game. Are you ready though? Did you get a good dinner?
Definitely ready, and honestly I didn't eat much food today. And I'll tell you why, because I'm so excited and I can't just take my eyes off the screen. So we're gonna go ahead and start the next match right away. أعزائنا المشاهدين جاء الوقت نبدأ فيها المباراة. خلونا على طول نروح نرحب في اللاعبين.
From Team Liquid, Clem. Clem took out Dark, one of the best Zerg already on this stage today. But his opponent, Solar, is not just another Zerg.
زي ما احنا عارفين كلم اوريدي اصلا وصل للمسرح واوريدي فاز في مباراه من المباريات اللي عندنا كانت من اهم المباريات له قدام دارك، لكن الان يكون عنده فرصه انه يحصل على فوزه الثاني، وكل المباراتين اللي شاهدناها اليوم لكلم كانت على المسرح، فالضغط اللي عنده جدا كبير، لكن بنفس الوقت قدامه فوز واحد زياده بعد المباراه هذه عشان يقدر يتاهل الى المرحله القادمه. خصمه المره هذه يكون خصم جدا صعب ومن اوائل الناس المتاهلين لجيمرز 8. خلونا نرحب فيه ونعرف منه. من فريق اونسايد سولر. اول ظهور لسولر على المسرح، لكن حطوا ببالكم اعزائنا المشاهدين انه في كل مره واجه فيها كليم في ال10 مباريات الماضيه دائما سولر هو اللي يكون عنده الادفانتج، ودائما هو يفوز على كليم في مختلف البطولات، ومن ضمنها من اكبر البطولات العالميه في الاي اس ال ماسترز، فاحتمال كبير اننا نشوف النتيجه هذه تتكرر، لكن اكيد كليم بيكون جاهز له، لكن سولر خصم ما يستهان فيه.
As you said, third, fourth at the ESL SC2 Summer Masters 2023, but more importantly, second at Home Story Cup just last month, where he 3-0'd Clem in the quarterfinals.
Every single match that they have faced for the past few weeks, every time Solar comes on top، وعشان كذا اعزائنا المشاهدين كليم بيكون عنده فرصه انه يتغلب عليها المره، خصوصا انه كليم زي ما شاهدناه مغير استراتيجياته كامله، قاعد يلعب ستايل جدا جديد، والشيء اللي قاعدين نشوفه منه ما قد شفناه في الاول.
Gentlemen, if you'll join us center stage to shake hands.
بالتوفيق لكليم وسولر اعزائنا المشاهدين. الجيم هذا بيكون جدا مميز، لكن تونا ليلنا طويل وباقي ما عرفنا مين اللي بيتاهل من السويس جروب ستيج، فخلونا على طول نروح للمعلقين نتكلم معاهم اكثر.
We've got smiles and sportsmanship, and now it's time for some StarCraft 2.
Oh man, we are finally here after that huge wait. What's up everybody? I'm Tasteless, with me is Ben. It is what? It's 11:25 at night. If we don't finish this best of 3 by midnight, the casters turn into pumpkins.
Pumpkins they do, pumpkins they do. I am excited to be here with you, Tasteless. Apparently, like, just a few PC problems. I heard there were flames going on in the building, fire detectors went off and all that jazz, but no, they are here and now they are ready. Both these players had a lot of games over the past few months, and honestly, when I look at both these guys, they're both insanely good at this particular matchup, but I would not have dreamed of Solar being 6-0 in series against him. And I think it's something like, let me count here, it's like 15-2 in maps in his favor.
Yeah, every once in a while you get one player that is just so strong against the other. And it does seem like right now Solar is the guy that knows how to beat Clem, but every new best of 3 is another opportunity. another chance to try to overcome that. And when the stakes are this high, maybe Clem can leverage this position and overcome this hurdle, this obstacle that's been in his path, and beat Solar this time around.
And honestly, like, Dark, going up against Dark, that was a big deal for Clem, because that, for me, Dark is like the best Zerg in Korea right now, and Clem's had a bit of a, a hurdle, like a rock that he hasn't been able to really get over. And the fact that he took him down, now going up against Solar, he's been his real kryptonite. We're going to get right on into it. Spawning over in the top left here, representing Onside Gaming, it is the Red Zerg, Solar.
And in the bottom right here in the blue, our Terran player Clem.
My boy, my boy.
My boy. Young Clem.
You know, he will forever be young Clem, won't he? Like,
I
look at him and I'm just like, holy crap, he's growing, you see it. He's like turning into this young Backstreet Boy kind of looking dude, and he's just a phenomenal player. Because I remember when he was like 12, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was too young to actually compete in tournaments at the time.
You know, I was looking at his hand hold a mouse. Like, it's one of those things where the mouse was just way bigger than his hand. He couldn't wrap his fingers around it. And that was the one thing that was holding him back. As soon as he could manage that, he's been flying ever since. But, yeah, these players, they've both been phenomenal in this matchup. Solar, he acts like a punching bag. Like, he really takes the brunt of, like, the Terran onslaught. And he's been good against all the Terrans recently. And then as soon as you think, like, okay, they're finally going to cripple him, right? No. Then he bounces back with lots of Lingbane Hydra. So Solar, I think he's one of the best in the world at just taking the brute force, but then just unleashing the beast.
Yeah, I like the way that you phrased that, Ben. The fact that Solar is really able to take, a couple of black eyes in the match to where it looks like, okay, he's up against the ropes, he's going to get finished off. But then he's able to engineer that into a comeback and know when to have that counter punch, when to have that play. I think the fact that Clem has had success against Dark here, against these Korean Zergs that have been so good at kind of playing keep away on these split map positions where they really drag the game out and then are able to crush the Terran in the last few closing moments when it's really going to be decided either way. That's showing a lot of promise here. Solar, look, I mean, this is a guy who's always played second fiddle to the other Korean Zergs that are out there, right? I mean, you got your Rogue, you got your Dark. And Solar's been good, but he's certainly been overshadowed. But he is no joke to any Terran in the world when you go up against him. And although I think he does lean into a little bit more of that style of play that you were mentioning, which is kind of absorbing blows and then knowing when it's really your turn to punish, whether it's an overextension or just a certain window of time inside the game, this is going to be an interesting one. Now, the fact that Clem has not beaten Solar yet, that's a little bit scary, right? That shows that there's something else going on here that we might not even be able to pick up on right away, that Solar's identified about the way that Clem plays the game, whether it's, Clem being too passive at certain moments or maybe he overextends. And I want to be watching for that as we go into this series to see how exactly Solar's going to behave against Clem in this.
Well, yeah, just as Solar's very good at taking the punches, Clem's very good at giving them. He's a fast Terran. He's in your face. Like, I would say in this matchup, he's second to none when it comes to just pure agility and speed with the medevacs early on. And you can tell when Clem's on form. Like, I was talking with Reyno backstage about this. It's like, if you play Clem when he's on song, when he's playing all those regionals and winning them, you get those Ling Baneling trying to hit those medevacs or like the Marines on the floor, they're instantly picked up every time. He'll pick off 2 Banelings while doing so. Here, he's going to run in with a Reaper, 2 Hellions. The Reaper does get picked off straight away. Nice little Evo morph here just to slow down the Hellions a little bit. Also save the life of one of those low health drones there. Nice play from Solar so far.
Yeah, the drones are going to come back around and an immediate pull away again here, and it almost feels like the harass that Clem came in here to pull off was completely punished. 1 Hellion is going to go down and merge up into 3, but no drone kills so far.
Yeah, and this is fast tempo pace from Clem as well. This wasn't with like a 3rd CC. This is all about aggression. You see that a Banshee is very quick on the way. He's still piling across those Hellions across the map, but losing that Reaper definitely makes this a more brittle army. You like that Reaper to be a bit of like cannon fodder for those queens. You can take a few hits while dealing with the creep tumors, but now we can't do that. All these units that he has can't replenish themselves anymore.
So Solar continues to coast through this game. The Banshee with Cloak is going to come in here. This is going to be the second opportunity to try to combo this together. The Banshee coming in to maybe draw some attention away. Big scout, by the way, with this Link coming in here. You can already see what's coming a few seconds before it actually happens. Another little victory here, at least as far as intel goes here for Solar. But yeah, so far Clem not able to find really anything, any jab, any punch that he can get in here to try to get a little bit further ahead here against Solar.
Yeah, so far, Solar's a pretty damn solid punching bag that isn't really, he's like actually dodging all the punches thus far. Here, the first Banshee doesn't really get much done, does reveal itself, and obviously Solar didn't know about it coming across, but Solar's just doing a good job droning up like a madman. And look at that, 8 more drones on the way. He's going to be hitting 60 by the time Clem's on about 40-ish here. Does Clem? Okay, third base. It's not on location or anything. He's being very safe about it. Clem will have to look to get something done in the near future, but it's when and with what, really? Oh, we'll start off quite nicely here with some Banshee damage.
Yeah, gets a double there. 2 drones go down. Looks like he can actually come in here and grab another one. And he gets up to 4. That's not bad. Keeping that second Banshee alive. Needs to be careful, of course, to not actually overextend. Back at home, Clem is going to be finishing up Stim here. I don't know that he's going to do a real push so far. He may just be trying to take his third base and get a little bit more of a comfortable spot here on the map. But the good news for Clem is that he's developing very nicely. And the good news for Solar, honestly, is that there's not a very easily pushable fourth base here. The fourth is pretty easy to take. You can, from the Terran's perspective, try to hit the third base and kind of treat that as the target. But of course, the way that this map kind of organically grows and develops from the way that Solar's played it, there's already a decent amount of creep tumors out here, so it's not going to be that easy to hit.
Yeah, containing the creep at this point is ridiculously hard to do. Like, these Hellions, as I said earlier, they're brittle. They can't heal themselves. There is a nice armory timing here. I love how he's utilized the front as well of his base. That natural, it was where the CC was. He lined it up with a depot and an armory, just making sure that he can wall that off nicely, so well done by him. And it lines up very nicely with his upgrades. But Solar, he went for the bailing speed first, but his 1-1 is very quick as well. That is the sign of a Zerg that's taken very little damage early on.
So it's finally time for Clem to try to move out. Now, anywhere he tries to push in, creep can keep spreading out and around. It's a pretty long distance in the 3 areas Terran could try to come in here on this map to reconfigure. So he's going to have to try to commit somewhere. Again, not an obvious target that you can try to hit. And maybe in that case, Clem doesn't really want to hyper commit to any one of these areas. Instead, maybe he wants to try to shark around the map and roam and see if he can take out creep tumors.
Ooh, that was a nice little attempt at a grab there by Solar, but Clem was quick enough to react. Oh, the one little bailing there, managing to blow up 2 Hellions for its troubles. And all these Hellions, you know that Clem wants to keep them alive, just to morph them into Hellbats along with that armory. And Clem, I just saw a big explosion of barracks as well. No 4th CC on the way. He is looking to just pile on across the map, and he's doing such a good job of eliminating the creep in the middle here. So he is absolutely setting up a path directly down the middle of the map to Solar, so we know exactly what he's up to here.
One thing about when you push into this position is that if you start to lose, there's no easy spot to try to pick up with your medevacs and like run into the main or do anything like that. By the way, this tank I think is actually too close to the ledge, so there's going to be a big surround coming in here, and I don't know that these Marines are going to be able to get away. And now Clem, he escapes with the medevacs and the Marines, but he loses all the tanks, he loses the foothold, and a Baneling connects with the infantry.
That is not what he wanted at all, was it? I mean, I love the little hug on those Hellbats around with that tank, but the fact that that happened for him, like, he is hoping for tempo here, Tasteless, and now he starts up that 4th base. He's pretty good about starting his upgrades as well, but those 3 extra barracks that he made, this was all about tempo, and he's just lost it in one fell swoop.
And the fact that you can see that the 5th base is already up and there's no real obvious location or opportunity that can be created here for Clem from here on out, it's really bad. I mean, you could see exactly why Clem is so such a problem in any kind of series here. Solar's such a problem, excuse me, here for Clem. In that he's just able, Solar is to shut down anything that Clem really has. And I think when you look at the way that Clem set up, it was a bit of a clumsy spot. The tank was too far forward. The infantry weren't quite ready for the surround. As I mentioned earlier from this position, you can't easily drop into the main, so it's hard to create a way to kind of dislodge the Zerg from that position. So, I mean, this is going to be a very tumultuous mid to late game here from Clem, no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's doing what he can to try and, like, slow down Solar, but he slowed down himself a lot by the choice of build, right? So he's not going into this game with being like, all right, I'm very close to getting ghosts and stuff like that for when you do your lurker switch. No. He's just floating over his 4th base now. This is a wounded Clem. He's also going to be up like behind on upgrades here. I know his +2 is finishing, but that's 2-2 from Solar, 88 drones from Solar as well, and he is rich as Larry in this game.
Yeah, and I think now it's finally Solar's turn to start to try to smash these positions. Tanks are not sieged up yet, all three of them. It looks like Zerg wants to try to reset up, but we're kind of missing a bigger attack actually down here over at the, there it is, in the picture here. And I don't see what's actually there to defend that location. I guess just one tank, which there's just not enough shelling coming out from those tanks. In the meanwhile, 14 SCVs go down. The Zerg pulls away to muster a bigger force and attack in again soon, no doubt.
I mean, Solar's forcing him into an all-in position here, isn't he? I mean, 56 workers against 87. I mean, there is like one opportunity for Clem now. It's to go, go, go. Because if he plays the catch-up game from here, he can't do anything. And Solar, he is aware of that. So he backed off, he got the creep spread going again, and he is prepared for a fight. Look at that, and the south part of the map as well. He's getting ready to just slow him down again, or get ready for a big flank.
Yeah, and this is Clem's one real opportunity, I would say. If he can try to get a good spread, and that's a very good spread that he has set up over there. He's going to get the siege tank set up. And we need to see, is there any way that Solar overextends? A counterattack is set up over here. I don't know what exactly is over at that third base, but if you could come in there, and maybe this is just a setup to try to catch reinforcements instead?
I mean, it's beautiful at doing that, right? And now Clem knows it's there. But, I mean, Solar, he's feeling confident here. He is very off-creep, but a Viper with a blinding cloud. He swoops in from the left side. I mean, these Marines at the back are actually trading ridiculously well on that backside. Maybe Solar got a little bit too eager. The bailing count is ridiculously low, and that is so many Marines, but he has to be so careful.
Yeah, one slip up there, and he's going to lose all that, but he's able to dive right in on top of the creep. So far, none of these Banes are connecting, and the ones that are actually left over are getting stuck behind the Hydras.
Oh my goodness, Clem is the warrior. All the Banelings, they can't connect, but he's running away. He's trying to get rid of them all. All of them are gone here. The tank's reigning supreme on the back line. Where did Solar's supply go? I mean, his army, it is measly at this point, 15 Marines at a time. He poked the bear, Tasteless, and he was not prepared for it to run across the map like it's done.
I mean, this really goes to show you what can happen with one overextension there from Solar. And Clem, he saw the moment. He comes in with the punish. He doesn't get a lot of drones. They evacuate. And this is going to leave another moment here for Clem where he has to decide where does he push it and how does he do it. He can set up a foothold out here and continue to hammer away. It looks like the hatchery just to the bottom of the screenshot is also vulnerable as well.
I mean, these tanks here, like he can't mine from this base. He absolutely can't. Clem's supply is climbing. And I mean, Clem, he was broke as a joke. He didn't even afford the +3 armor, but all these Banelings are getting absolutely massacred. Single file into the line of Marines. They're both about to hit their +3 upgrades at the same time, both thinking it's probably a really good timing, but they're both going to cancel each other out. And these Hydras, they cannot fight against this.
Yeah, the Hydras are just not quite enough at any one given moment. The tanks make this very comfortable for Clem to try to dive in and fish the units out, to come in here and do even more damage. And I think if Solar can't figure out a way to deal with this, and positionally I don't know how he does, there's a very good chance Clem closes this out 1-0.
It absolutely is, but the stim wore out there, Tasteless, and oh, the creep was a nice little speed boost. Those Marines are hanging on for dear life here, and those medevacs, they are working overtime at this point. And that Lurker Den, he's trying to make the Lurkers now. That could absolutely be a lifeline for him. And Solar, despite all of this, has taken another base in the south spot here. But Clem, oh, he's relentless with this aggression.
Yeah, and now with this tank over here, it's really going to force Solar to come out. But of course, there's already so many tanks in the back, and although he eliminates that one tank, there's still so many more with the splash damage. And Clem has steadily stayed about 15, 20 supply ahead. He just has to keep advancing on this position. On the other hand, Solar does fill in the 6 o'clock spot, so he is continuing to expand in spite of the threats that are being generated here by Clem.
He certainly has. Those Banshees were kept alive. We'll deal with a few of these morphing Lurkers here, which will help a lot. Because with those Lurkers upgrading, especially with that range upgrade here, they are going to be very, very strong against the army of Clem. Like, he's going to need ghosts, but he can't afford those. So he's getting tanks and liberators as kind of a cheap resort to try and do it. But look at Solar. He's got such a spread here of units, but Clem is still trying his absolute best. Lovely Viper usage.
And, you know, with this big counterattack here from Solar, I'm getting a little bit worried here. He's really got enough lings to keep going all the way here. I don't know if the 4th base is actually a planetary or not, but like, this is so many kills over here. What seemed like a moment that Clem might close this out, it's starting to become a little bit more dire on his side of the map.
Oh my goodness, a Doom drop into the main here. You can really feel that both of them feel the pressure massively. They both know what the other one's going for. And for Clem, like, this is his last hurrah here. Losing these tanks, that is his last chance at being able to deal with these lurkers. And here, this is one of those moments of the turn where you're just like, holy crap, he's gone and done it, hasn't he? I thought I had him, And this is what Solar does so well. The whole rope-a-dope thing. Mate, he's so good at this.
The rope-a-dope thing, I love that. Yeah, you know, it's a funny game here, right? It's a situation where it looked like Clem had this, but I guess after he got the advantage, he just kept trying to press it, and then, you know, Solar was quietly able to kind of come up underneath him and then hit his bases. And, you know, Clem didn't have a 5th base. He didn't have, I believe, any kind of proper defense on that 3rd to deal with a counterattack. And, you know, this is a real back and forth. It's been a really exciting match, but we're in a very dangerous zone here for Clem because he's barely able to get back onto his 3rd base, and he's basically lost all the momentum he had earlier on there with those pushes.
No, it certainly has. Like, you can't forget how bad the first engagement went for him, where he did that little hellbat hug, but Solar, like this army, Tasteless, when you see it with that scan, you're just like, oh man, I do not have the tools to deal with this. Very cute Liberator harassed by him, and honestly, the drone count's not the best, but I look at that worker count from Clem, and I'm just like, 44, that is not what you want. And then these Liberators that have been doing a dream job down here do get cleaned up as well, and Clem's like, oh no, I'm on my side of the map. This is absolutely not where I want to be.
I guess he can try to gather up and push down here at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how much, you know, room there is for this to actually work. We see a big red wave coming down here towards the bottom. And I don't know if Clem has enough to actually overpower this.
I mean, he might take out this base, but look at that flood of red Zerg here. So many Banelings, Lurkers, reigning supreme in the north as well, and that army of blue Terran there just absolutely evaporated, and Clem is sent home packing, and Solar, look, he's just marching forward with what he has, and Clem is doing everything he can, but he knows it. GG, nice play from Solar.
Dude, that was such a cool game, because you saw the strengths on both sides, right? You saw these moments where Solar was hanging on. Solar tries to fight back. Clem holds it. He sees a real opportunity, but he is unable, after he gets that lead, to then reconfigure, right? Sometimes, like the best players that you could ever watch, they kill a base and then they actually pack up and go home.
Yeah.
It's always been tempting. We've all been there where you're like, no, I got to keep this going. I got to ride this momentum out. But when Solar got that counterattack, it turned the game on its head.
You know, like the thing that really impressed me about that game, actually, because I felt that Solar did everything great. And then when it got to one point where it's like, okay, one engagement didn't go well for me, Clem just took the game by the horns, right, and really put Solar into a rough position. Really took out like a base, really pushed him to the limit. And it just shows you that one little mistake between these guys can really swing it entirely. And this is the moment where Clem was like, okay, I'm in your face, I'm sniping Banelings here, left, right, and center. Very, very cool between these two, and I'm glad that they're both playing good as well. This wasn't one guy not living up to expectations. This was just both of them using their strengths very solid, like you say.
And so here we are. Clem, you know, regardless of how the game looks inside of it, right, the result is still what speaks to the direction that this match is going in. And it's cool to see, you know, Clem find those solutions. You know, there are these moments of hope, but the story does conclude, at least in game one in the best of three, that Solar is victorious and he just has to do it one more time. Clem's big error was, you know, not taking his advantage and then running away with it. You know, I think if he had came in there, especially when that first tank that was on the outside was picked off, I think that's when he had to pull back away. Anyways, we'll talk more about that in a second. In the top right, in the blue, he is Clem.
And over in the bottom left, as I read Zerg, it is Solar. No, really cool game, really cool game. Like, Solar took I think early on it was like 4 drones in total, and that's it. Like, you got to remember, like the first little squad where Reaper was like, or rather Clem was like, you know what? I'm gonna dive past the Queen, see what I can get done. The little Evo morph and stuff, and like maybe lost 1 drone maximum while just dealing with that. Then the Banshees didn't do much, just micro and 1 bailing to blow up the Hellions, so it was less Hellbats. I think Solar played an immaculate first 5 minutes of that game, and that's not easy to do at all, especially on a map like Grassfan where there are all these little paths and stuff. I think it was also cool by him to kind of realize, okay, Clem, you're going to go down the middle, you're going to do all this damage in what you can. I'm going to try and make these setups and engagements so damn hard for you.
Yeah. Clem, you know, he did a very, I guess, standard kind of, I mean, nothing too fancy about an opening, right? You try to get some harass off. One thing to kind of reflect on as well is how beautifully and perfectly Solar kind of judo flipped the Hellions that came in right away. I mean, a lot of times with 2 Hellions, we kind of expect 1 or 2 drones to fall, but he really shut that down. But yeah, after that, it was some Banshee harass, and, you know, it was just Clem trying to see what exactly he could find. For those of you just now tuning in, you know, if Clem loses this game, it would be his 7th loss in a row in series games versus Solar, which is pretty incredible. I think if you asked most people who knew these 2 players what the record was, or that they had to guess, right? I think most people would think, you know, it's pretty even, or maybe even that Clem has had more wins.
What's kind of funny is it's 16-14 in favor of Solar in total series. It's just like the last 6 times that they played, Solar's won every time. And if I go down the history of it, before that, it was not that one-sided, let me tell you that. Like, Clem, for every European out there, when they've played him on the ladder, when they've seen him in the tournaments, and it's like, he is absolutely the best in the world at like TVZ. And I know like players like Mario, you know, they don't all play on the same circuits all the time, but what he showcases and how he does it when he goes up against the likes of Cyril and Reyna, who are very arguably some of the best CVT players in the world, he is just so amazing. And the fact that he took down Dark in the series previous to this, and I mean, Dark played damn good as well. I think both these guys are just showcasing amazing levels of ZVT, and that cannot be disputed, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, it speaks to Solar as well. I mean, Solar is, you know, one of the great Korean Zergs, but he's not, I think, in the list of the first 5 names you list off, right?
Korean Zergs?
I'm sorry, Korean players.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant to say, Korean players.
I was like, who else are you thinking of, Tasteless? Because for me,
he's got your Ragnarok. No. What I'm trying to say is, look, you know, he's not your first 5 Korean pros, is where I was trying to go with that. And despite that, he's always able to hang with the best. So, you know, Solar, you know, his ability to really adapt and kind of try to find those weaknesses and get those reads is there. And it seems like right now he's riding a combo, a streak here with that against Clem.
I feel like Solar as a whole is just kind of, he went through a little bit of a dip maybe like a year ago, but whatever's happened to him recently, he is just on the up and up in everything. Because I really feel like for a while it was group stage Solar. It was a bit of a meme that he plays so damn well in the group stage, then when it gets to the playoffs he doesn't do so well, but he is really holding it all together. His ZVT is, he plays this brutal style every time as well, which is very hard to do, where it's like, I'm going to react to everything you're doing, I'm going to respond to everything you're doing, and you know, you give me your all, you give me absolutely everything. I'm eventually going to attack you and you cannot stop it. And it's how he plays every single ZVT. And I mean, that is something that you need a lot of resilience to do. And this boy has absolutely oodles of it.
Oodles and oodles of it. By the way, that Queen got away. That is a crazy save there. You know, you were mentioning earlier, Ben, about, you know, the Hellions don't heal right. They have to get value, or eventually they're not going to get anything done. And I think that little overextension was a really, really smooth moment here. He's going to bring in a few more Hellions and try once more, this time up from the top. But so far, oh, it's going to lose that Hellion. Okay, it gets away.
Clem has gone for a different build this time, though. It's a far more economic build. He went for the 3rd CC before getting the starport and all that stuff online. So he is going to not be so... I'm going to use the term all-in. Oh, cheeky extractor. Whatever it did wrong, please stop, please stop.
This is a little bit of a... This is some unusual play here, hitting the extractor. Looks like it will get its priorities straight, the Queen, and actually take the... drive the Banshee away.
Oh, but yeah, just to go back to his build, this one far more economic. He is not, it's not super urgent for him to deal damage and just wound Solar like the previous game. Granted, his army will be a little bit slower, but it's nice not to have that super urgency. And you know what? I kind of like the fact that he went for that build in game 1, just because it's like setting the tempo of the series, just letting your opponent know, hey man, you know, my builds, I will do anything to win here.
Well, it looks like these Banshees are not gonna, well, hold on, where's the Overseer? Okay, here we go. This should be saved. It's kind of a tough call. I almost feel like he might have been able to commit down to that. I'm not totally sure, but regardless, the hatchery is going to finish, and the Banshees can't stop that. The third CC's landed. We're really beginning to see.
Oi.
Huh.
You can see it on Clem's face, and
Yeah,
like, the cameraman knew it too. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's a frown if I've ever seen one."
Yeah, that was. You ever had these moments where it's like you feel yourself making the wrong play and then you do it anyways?
All the time.
All the time, me too. Yeah.
I think that's more my natural play, my state of mind nowadays, as opposed to I'm doing the right thing. All right, okay, let's have a look at the good points though for Clem, because even though lost a Banshee, hasn't killed a drone, I don't believe either. Like.
Right.
Okay, one drone did fall early on, but I mean, for one Banshee and one Hellion, that's not what you want. That's obviously a good trade, but his 1-1 will finish quite a bit earlier than Solar's this time, which wasn't the case the game prior. Solar was very quick to get that going, and his work account's good. And I think this game, he's far quicker about getting a second factory online. We're probably going to see a far quicker, what's the word for it, a 4th CC as well, and the Widow Mines, obviously. Clem's one of the best with Widow Mines, he absolutely is.
Yeah, and that was a great swipe in there. He forced the cancel, he got some kills, he gets back out. You know, one thing with Widow Mine play is you're able to really quite stay mobile. You know, you get deep in with the base with the tanks, and a lot of times there's literally no way to get your whole army out. Like, a lot of times the tanks have to fall. But this allows Clem to be a bit more nimble, and maybe this is a better way to try to approach this after the way that last game went, where he got the lead and he felt like he had to just kind of double down on the position in game 1.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now this is one of those moments where it's like, all right, Clem has a small upgrade window where he wants to deal as much damage as possible. No doubt he's clicked on these Zerg units. There's no armor available. He's like, all right, let's do what I can. Get some map control. He's got that 4th CC going. You see here, he's trying to take these little engagements and trying to make it as hard as possible. And here, it might be paying off quite a bit, Tasteless. This is what we're talking about. That's a lot of tempo advantage for him.
Yeah, that's a lot of kills. It looks like the drop is going to be driven away. And in fact, I think the Spores will be able to take this out. That's so bad, losing that full medevac. Look, I mean, Clem is just taking his swipes and his jabs, but at the same time, I don't know that there's enough muscle in any of these pushes, right? They're a nuisance, but if Zerg can just get the right number of units there, it seems like they have to go away.
Yeah, these are jabs that might knock out a teeth or two, but they're not knocking out Solar. This is how Solar likes to play. Like, even though Clem's tempo is amazing, okay, he's going to start doing his sniping stuff here, and he's so damn good at it. He will take very efficient trades against Solar, and he's going to continually try and whittle him down. But Solar, he's not missing a beat about upgrades on his side of things either, so both playing a very good game here.
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty big shutdown here from Solar. He's getting to the point where he's starting to grow enough on both sides that neither set of medevacs groups that are roaming are able to hold their ground whatsoever. The idea here is that Clem is going to try to find the weak side of the map and push in, but the problem is I don't know if there is a weak side of the map.
I think you're absolutely right, but one thing you got to remember is Solar has to take these 2 fights on very different spots on the map, also trying to get that creep going. And that creep on both those sides, it's not that good. The creep in the middle, it's obviously got to like halfway across the map, but it's still not spreading wildly, right? So Clem is just absolutely testing what Solar's capable of here, and he isn't slowing down, and yet again, it's just this time, he's got a way scarier economy to back it up. Oh, yeah. that medevac, it does not want to die, and just kept alive there. And this avenue down here, there is not enough creep spread, and that, oh my goodness, these Spainling snipes are beautiful.
Yeah, you know, that was really good. The hatchery is also extremely low, but Solar seems to be able to mop this all up pretty easily. And again, so many medevacs getting picked off over here.
They certainly are, and Solar's doing a super good job of just making sure he has just enough units on either side, right? Like, that's actually a skill in itself, just making sure that you divvy up your army as good as you can. And now that he's bought himself a little bit of time here, he's like, you know what? So that Lurker then, get the Hive on the go as well. It's just in time with his 2-2 finishing as well, so he'll be able to start those upgrades. And Clem, he's weathering the storm of Clem, and he's doing it pretty damn solidly as well.
So Clem continuing to look for some kind of opportunity. He's growing, by the way, on the map. He's got the sensor tower set up. It's going to be a little bit difficult to be counterattacked somewhere, although I guess it is kind of tempting to come in from the upper left side. if he can get there. But Solar just always able to shove this army away.
He certainly is, and look at these Widow Mines, none of them get off. Very nicely done by Solar. Still trying to snipe these Bailings on the way after him though, but Solar, now he's the one looking to be a little bit aggressive, but realizing that, okay, I shouldn't outstay my welcome here. The Banshee's still alive from earlier, and Solar, as soon as he hit Hive, by the way, +3 Carapace starts, 2 Vipers on the go as well. That is very nice for him to get ahead on those upgrades.
And, you know, the longer this game's gone on, the more it seems like it's really Solar kind of right at the breach, right at the entry point. In fact, we're going to see it, you know, before I can even finish the thought. Basically able to come in here and start to wipe out the position here of Clem. And it's kind of wild to see because Clem is maxed out, but as you watch this attack, you go, where are the units?
Where are the units indeed? I mean, I see fairly decent supplies from both sides, but Solar's army is just a beast, man. Like, this is just raw power on the natural, on the third, and we're going to see SCVs dying absolutely everywhere here. And look at Clem's supply. Look at his face. He knows it's happened for the 7th time in a row, losing to this man that he just cannot overcome.
You know, it's wild, right? Like, what an unusual looking game. The supplies are so high, but everywhere that the screen moves, it's like there's nothing to stop this. And the Banelings go all the way to the natural and obliterate the SCVs. And this is going to really loosen up Clem positionally for Solar to come in with another attack. And you can start to see, as we have attacks all over the map in different areas, that most likely another base is going to be flattened here for Clem.
Absolutely. I mean, this army just got a lot scarier, man. Like, the medevacs are the one thing that's been keeping his army alive, and now you got Vipers on the fray, and Clem just calls it, and Solar very happy with that. Truly dominating in this matchup with Clem. This isn't ZVT. This is Solar versus Clem over here.
Truly it is, Ben. I mean, you could just see that no matter what Clem does, and he does have his moments of brilliance, I think more so in Game 1 than in Game 2. At the end of the day, Solar just seems to understand exactly how Clem is going to behave, when the weaknesses are going to be there, and when it's time for him to come out and attack.
Yeah, just absolutely phenomenal play from Solar. Like, they both played exactly how we thought they were going to play. Just Solar was the better player today. Like, the way that he's just managing to hold on like he does, get the right unit compositions out, and he weathers the storm quite literally, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like, as soon as it's his turn to do the big punching, it is literally like a boxing match where it's like jab, 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 and then it's just like hold the phone, bam, one shot, one kill. And it's just absolutely amazing what he manages to do to this young Frenchman.
It feels like Solar's like one of these fighting game characters where as he takes damage, he builds up meter, and then he's able to finally
It's like the lower health that I get, the stronger I become.
The more mad I am, and it's time to use my rage attack.
Yeah, but he looks so, like, it just looks like Clem can't do any damage anywhere.
Yeah, and you can see he's reflecting on this right now, trying to figure out what he can do later on. Anyways, guys, we're going to go to the stage here with an interview and see how Solar is feeling.
Solar, you looked so in control in both of those games. Was there ever a moment you doubted yourself?
Yeah, first game I was like, I think he had a game, but like, I don't know, like he was like too hurry for some moments, so. And he was nothing prepared for my juggling run-bys, so first game, like, Clem should have won, but, like, I kind of bit lucky in the first stage, so I think second game, yeah, I didn't have any, like, worries, so I just played my own, yeah.
زي ما تشوفون سولر معنا بعد ما فاز على كليم. السؤال الاول اللي سالناه في المقابله نتكلم عن الجيم الاول وش اللي صار فيه بالضبط وهل هو كان خايف انه بيخسر المباراه، لكن كان الجواب يقول انه لا، فعلا الجيم الاول ما كان هو جاهز للهجوم حقي وكنت محظوظ اني افوز الجيم ولا كان مخطط له، لكن في الجيم الثاني لا، انا لعبت الاستراتيجيه حقتي وكنت انا اللاعب الافضل في هذه المباراه.
Well, you started this match against Clem 4-0 against him. You're now 5-0. Tell me a little bit about him as an opponent for you.
Yeah, Clem is obviously a good Terran player, but like, I feel like when I play against him online, like he played really well, and I lose a lot of matches in the online games against him. But in offline games, I think he's a bit like nervous or like uncomfortable with setups. So yeah, I think if you get used to offline, I think he's really gonna be scary opponent. Yeah.
سألنا سولر في السؤال الثاني نتكلم عن وش يفكر عن كليم وش طريقة لعبه وكيف الهيستوري اللي بينهم. كان الجواب يقول إنه دائما هو إذا لعبت ضد كليم أونلاين دائما إحنا أخسر المباريات، لأنه هو يقول يعني هو لاعب جدا جدا ممتاز، لكن دائما في الأوفلاين ماتشز في اللان تورنمنت دائما يكون الأفضلية مع سولر، لأنه دائما يشوف إنه كليم هو للأسف يتوتر داخل المباريات اللي تكون في المسارح.
Solar, you show no such fear. You seem very comfortable playing out here on stage in front of a crowd. You're looking great in the tournament so far. Do you have hopes for the championship?
Yeah, as a player to compete this summer, actually, first of all, I was very happy to attend to this here, Riyadh, amazing place, amazing games. So, but I already did it, and I'm now looking good, as you said. So, I want for champion, of course. Yeah.
سألنا السؤال الأخير إذا يشوف إنه عنده فرصة إنه يحصل على الشامبيونشيب بالكامل، ويقول إنه فعلا أنا أصلا من يوم ما جيت الرياض وأنا جدا مبسوط وسعيد، وبالبداية ما كان ودي إني أجي لكن جيت وأدائي في المباريات جدا ممتاز، فطبعا إني أنا أكون جاي عشان باخذ الشامبيونشيب.
Love the confidence, Solar. Can't wait to see more games from you coming up, but we're going to send it back to the studio now to take a look at the ones you just played.
على طول نبي نروح للاستديو أعزائنا المشاهدين نتكلم مع المحللين وش اللي صار في الجيم، كيف سولر قدر ياخذها كذا وان سايد بشكل جدا كبير، ونرجع لكم على طول في تقديم المباراة الأخيرة.
That's right, the ever-lovable Solar here is able to take the series against Clem. And honestly, looking great whilst doing it here. We were speaking before this match actually went down. Our Toast Rotterdam joining me before this one about how good he looks in the matchup. He came off as EVT looking good. He goes into this one against Clem looking good. It was a good time here, Roddy.
That's a day for Solar, man. He kicks the day off with a 2-1 victory over Oliveira, man who actually beat him quite a few times in the past as well, so that was a massive win. And now again, he just shows us once more that he just has the number of that Frenchman. Got a little dicey here in that first game, because the game was actually going well, but that fight, I think he got a bit carried away. Maybe he thought he was further ahead than what he was, and he's like, uh-oh, my Banelings do not connect with your Marines off creep. But he did such a great job in transitioning into those lurkers, getting them out in time, the right amount of upgrades, and then those counterattacks. Fantastic job there, because I actually thought that Solar was inches away from losing game one.
It did feel that way as we kind of look at the closing moments there, and we move on to game number 2, where again Solar just kind of look at that.
That's
your sport crawler.
Oh man, you've never seen a defensive structure like this sport crawler here. But no, it is Solar. This game, it really felt much more one-sided than the first game. The first game definitely we did have that back and forth where it looked like he might even lose for a moment, but you know, Solar just held on very strongly here. There was like maybe one dicey moment during Clem's push, but when he just started to overwhelm him and push him across the map, you could see the look on Clem's face. You know, he knew he was out of there.
We saw many looks on Clem's face, unfortunately, during that. Because, again, I mean, not to a similar degree as some other players, but you see it in his face every time something happens. Every time we kind of move on over to it. It's a bit late, guys. I'm getting... we've been live for 11 hours. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's take a look then and see what's going on. We've got all of our results almost coming in from round 2. We've got Classic versus Beyond coming up later. Rotterdam, anything else to laugh at me about, or?
No, you
keep talking and we'll bring up the next one.
I do think, James, Clem definitely is a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he definitely has a lot of expressions, unlike Maru. Like, we were joking about it, how Maru can be down to 5 SCVs, and he's like, yeah. That's fine. And it is fine because he still wins. But with Clem, you can definitely see it. When he has awesome moments, he gets a little cheeky smile on his face. And when things don't go well, he shakes his head a little bit. It's just, I am so impressed by Solar that he's just able to always match the intensity that a guy like Clem brings. Because even guys like Raynor and Serral, especially Raynor, we compliment him for his speed often. Sometimes they get outplayed by a Clem that's just on steroids. He's all over the shop, multitasking left, right, and center. And Solar is just always able to match that. And it's now historically 9-0 against Clem at offline events.
That's ridiculous.
That's very impressive.
That's kind of crazy, actually. That is some good stats. Yeah, Solar, like, he was so middle of the road for so long. Like, we liked him. We knew he was good. We knew he had the talent. But in the last 9-10 months since that Super Tournament win, like, he really has picked it up.
Do you think how far do you think Solar can go in this tournament with this lineup? It's difficult with this lineup, but
yeah. Well, we haven't finished the second round yet, but he's in second place tomorrow. He's only dropped a single map. Like Solar, I honestly think he can top 4 this event.
You think so?
I absolutely believe that's possible, but then we have seen it in the past where Solar can look so incredibly good in group stages and the run of 16 and the quarterfinals. But then the really sad thing is that often when he does get eliminated, he gets eliminated in really one-sided series, right? And that often overshadows the great run he had a little bit up to that point. So I just hope that's not the case this time. But if Solar keeps on playing like this, why couldn't he go all the way? Like,
yeah, I mean, for me, sometimes you see kind of trip-ups in like differences in skill in matchups as a whole. Like you get to see him in ZVT and he looks amazing the whole tournament, and then suddenly jumps up in like a ZV0 or a ZVP or something like that. But anyway, that's by the by. We are going to a short break. When we return, it's the final series of the day. It's been a long one for the first day of Gamers8, as you can tell by me going blah, blah, blah. But we'll be back in just a few moments here with our final series.